Sinaji, better you yourself introduce before you start your podcast because that will be good as a introduction also, if you don't mind.
Sure,
Over
sir.
to Pritam Kumar.
So, my name is Pritam Sinha, and I come from corporate background, around 25 years in corporate sector, 20 years with Infosys, and then I moved to social sector. I left Infosys in 2021 to join fellowship in public health with a National Institute of Naturopathy, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, wherein the thesis was on efficacy of nature cure for chronic illnesses. And after completion of the same, I am working with the Government of Karnataka as an Indian Administrative Fellow, wherein the few departments like Planning Department, e-governance, education, and child development. So these are the area I have been handling. And the focus is on some of the top challenges in the state or maybe in the country. And what could be the strategic approach to solve those teething issues? So today, thanks Vasudevji for opportunity. I have not prepared any presentation or anything, but I'd like to share that how I transitioned from the corporate sector to development sector. What were the factor and what is needed for sustainable health? So that is I'd like to take as a topic. Um, it already started sometime in 2007-8 time frame, wherein I was a typical corporate guy, right? Devoting a lot of time in different activities and tasks and milestones, project management, and all that. I went for an executive health checkup that was done by Fortis and a special offer by Infosys employee. And I did not assume that there would be anything wrong with my health. But when the report came, almost every parameter was in red, whether it is sugar level or whether it is hypertension related parameter, uric acid, almost everything was in red. It was such that the way doctor communicated that I'm already on the deathbed and the only option is to have dozens of tablets and syrups and capsule throughout the life. So I was like that, why throughout the life? Can't you give something similar to what you give as a one course of antibiotic? Almost every month I come to you and you give that and the problem gets resolved. Why to have so many in the breakfast and lunch and dinner and then it is not something which is a short term, it is going to be a long term. So they said it is something called lifestyle disease and then you need to keep on taking it. There is no other option. So they connected with a nutrition specialist or dietitian also. And she was also confused that you have so many health issues and we don't know what should be given to you as a food. So she also could not conclude. So personally, I was not convinced that I can really take before breakfast, after breakfast, before lunch, after lunch, before dinner. And then I was not convinced that this is the only way to survive further, right? Because of the situation they highlighted was severe to say the least. So started my own research and then started reading, exploring option, what could be the other option other than what was being communicated by likes of Fortis and Apollo. And then I came across, I remember some of the point which Baba Ramdev used to speak. I had come across some of the video that he spoke about this uric acid and fatty liver and all that. So I did not get option to attend his seminar. I did a couple of session early morning that was being telecasted on Asta channel. But again, to have a consistency, I parallelly ordered 2 CD, which came and that costed me just 99 rupees. In addition, I worked on my own dietary intervention based on what was available as a literature on the internet. And 3 months I practiced the 2 CDs, 1 CD in the morning, 1 in the evening, 2 hours per day for 3 months. And diet, I moved away from more of a cooked diet to more of a raw diet. And after 3 months, when I went back for another health checkup, almost every parameters were clean, right? There was nothing that was in red. So doctors were shocked that how it is possible, something has gone wrong in the second test. We want to do another test, right? Because it cannot happen. What you are saying, you have done yoga and pranayam and mudra and bandha and dietary changes, and you have not taken even one pill. So I had purchased all of that, around 40 different pills and all, but I had not taken any of those because I wanted to check that other option which are available, which is called alternative, whether it is really effective. So when they insisted on another test, I said, okay, fine, we have already done 2 tests in Fortis. Let me do another test in Apollo. So Apollo also, when the test happened, there was nothing that was visible the way it was there in the first test. So that is the time I could see that yes, there's an option to resolve so-called chronic illnesses, wherein there's no option from the pharmaceutical, wherein they actually create a consumer and they don't solve any of the problem. And that was the time when I moved to this different lifestyle. It's almost 15 years and I never ever needed to go and take even the antibiotics which I was taking, or the cough and cold syrup and other things which I was taking before that. That was regular stuff. And what I concluded that point of time is there's something wrong in this entire system. But when I used to share with people, I was not able to explain what is the reason, what is the differential factor that is there in the lifestyle what I followed. So that was always there in the mind. I was able to help people share my own personal experience. It could help people with severe arthritis or diabetes or hypertension, but I was not able to understand the science behind it. And industry always says that there's nothing to do with science in nature cure and yoga and all that. So later point of time during COVID, I could see that everything is taken over by pharma, right? They were giving medicine that is remdesivir, favipiravir, ivermectin, putting people on ventilator, and none of those were backed with any kind of science. And I could see many people who were healthy, there was no problem sitting at home, they were pulled from the home, picked up and sent to the hospital, and within few days they died. So that is the time I started working on setting up an Infosys medical blockchain solution, where the idea was that can we have a measurement of the vital parameter of the body before and after the any kind of treatment protocol, right? It could be allopathy, or it could be Ayurveda, or it could be Siddha or Unani. So to look at all of this, I started learning the research methods, right? That what is that they talk about and why they say that our Indian system is not as per scientific approach. So I designed the entire system based on the same, and then that helped me to go deeper into different kind of vital parameters that is being captured in whether it is Siddha or Ayurveda or allopathy. And there has to be a common factor which can be used to analyze the efficacy of a treatment protocol. So that was really a profound experience, going through thousands of papers that was published across the globe. And after that, I realized that our own system of Prakritik Chikitsa, in the Western way it is called nature cure, India it is being popular as a naturopathy, is very, very powerful, and Gandhiji had spoken a lot about it, right? And that is something which is one of the unfinished mission of Gandhiji, and he wanted to make sure that people learn the technique of Prakriti Chikitsa before they go for any other treatment protocol. And that is where I got opportunity to submit a synopsis to National Institute of Naturopathy, and I got selected for fellowship. So then I decided to quit corporate sector and move to the fellowship. When I went deeper into it, and as a researcher with passion, I did not want to discount with my personal bias that there might be something which could be good in Western medical also. So I challenged my own experience and belief system while doing the research. So I looked at the best practices across the globe and went deeper into realm of human gut microbiome. And what I found is that what they talk about human gut microbiome and what is written in our Indian system of Ayurveda, it is exactly the same, right? So they're talking about their cells in the microbial family in the body that is governing the entire function, and it came out very similar to what we have written in our Panch Kosha principles or Panch Mahabhuta. So, and many scientists in the world, right, they start talking about the quantum space in the healing, and every cell can be rejuvenated, right? And what we need is a clean air, clean water, clean food, clean soil, right? All these things are very important. So I submitted my thesis on that, and that was purely based on critical analysis on what could be done based on ancient Indian wisdom, as well as what is written documented as per modern research. And the conclusion was that any kind of a treatment for any kind of disease, the primary line of treatment has to be nature cure. And only when there is a situation wherein it is really emergency, there is no other option other than going back to Western medical approach for the emergency treatment. And if we can follow the nature cure and Prakriti Chikitsa, this can resolve many issues. Finally, also looked at the dietary guidelines which are there in Indian ancient wisdom. And one thing which came out very clearly is that all our rituals and festivals and everything, there's an emphasis on going back to the raw diet, the fruits and vegetable and fasting and all of that, right, to clean the entire system. So we have remembered the festivals and all that, but what was connected for the dietary intervention to clean the system, flush out the toxin, where is the Navratra or where is the Ganesha Chaturthi, every festival doesn't have anything to do with cooked food. It is all about going back to the law of nature, wherein you take things which are fresh, right, which is there with prana, right? So that is the fresh vegetables and fruits, and that is something which also, was also conclusion as per my thesis, that anything which is fresh, that has a prana integrated into it, and if the prana is there, prana also has a option to heal the body. So when we are taking, whether it is sprouts or whether it is fruits or salad or anything, it has option to regenerate every cell in the body. At the same time, all of this also works like a prebiotic, and that has a very high amount of fiber, on which most of the microbiome family that is needed to repair the system grows at a rapid speed. So some of the very important microbial family, what I concluded is Bifidobacter and Lactobacilli, and they grow at rapid speed if we have taken the food which has a prana and also has a dietary fiber, wherein it is visible that once you are able to do that, then the microbial families flourish at rapid speed, maybe the 80% increase in case of Bifidobacter and Lactobacilli. But unfortunately, this kind of research papers are not there in the public domain. It is not part of the education system, and it is not there as a continuing education for the medical doctors also. What I found is that most of the Western medical approach is more of a selling model. Either they sell test, or they sell medicine, or they sell admission in the hospital, or surgery or something like that. There's no teaching or guidance to the doctors wherein they can write that yes, this is the activity what you need to do to improve your lifestyle. It could include the different dietary intervention which can improve the flow of prana in the body, remove the blockages that is missing today. So the area which I started working on is writing some books which could be part of the continuing education for Western medical doctors. And I'm fortunate to work with Dr. Hiramalini Sesadri, and also got a blessing from Dr. V.N. Gangadhar, who is now chairman for NMC. So this is the mission as of now, and as soon as I complete my fellowship in Government of Karnataka, that is going to be completed in next 3 to 4 months. So mission will be dedicated to what I call share the learning what I have got in last 15 years. How do we structure in a way that it could be part of continuing education for the doctor. So this is the journey, and it has been very exciting. A lot of challenges came into the picture, but again, the resolve has increased. So this is what I wanted to share, maybe open to questions.
Very nice and exciting, Sinhaji. I'm really very happy. I would like to know this Dr. Gangadhar, who is the Ayurvedic doctor who was working in FRST earlier in Bangalore.
He was the doctor. He is not an Ayurvedic doctor. He comes from the Western medical side only, but he's the one who experienced that the Western medical doesn't solve. So, being a director in NIMHANS, he used to give that psychiatric medicines and all that, and that was not solving the problem. So, he started an integrated yoga division in NIMHANS itself, wherein he is probably the first one to initiate a continuing education program for the psychologists and psychiatrists, that how yoga can help to resolve most of the issues.
Very happy. You will be knowing Dr. B.M. Hegde of Manipal also. In fact, for me, he is the inspiration. We have come out with de-doctoring the society. He himself was a heart specialist and he was working in foreign countries, etc. But he got disillusioned and then he switched over to yoga and Ayurveda after coming to India.
Yes, sir. I have been reading his article. I think you have added one article by him in the previous volume.
Yeah.
And I had spoken to him during COVID time. Again, most of the people were scared. They could not speak up whenever Ayurvedic and other doctors were getting arrested, even if they say that they can cure. So it took 6 months time to people to speak up, and finally NITI Aayog came out with a protocol based on Indian wisdom to provide intervention for COVID.
You too also will be happy that after joining Vivekananda in the last 40 years, I have not taken any allopathic medicine. Of course, I was not bold enough in refusing the 2 vaccines during COVID, but otherwise no chemical had entered in my body. I am quite happy about it. Of course, I do take our Siddha medicine, which is mainly what you can call herbal medicines. That also for a very common cold or cough or headache or something like that, not more than that. And as you rightly said, I'm quite comfortable with that. I don't have any issue at all. I don't have sickness at all for going to the doctors.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
So what I concluded is one of the things that is causing almost every chronic illness is the hybrid version of wheat that is pushed to the country. And that wheat has a gliadin glycoprotein with a mucoadhesive property, and that is getting stuck to the intestinal tract. And once it is there, that is also what we call reducing the prana in the body. And what I concluded is that say that some bacteria has attacked and all that. We have all kind of bacterial family in our body. They remain in the pathologic one remain in the dormant state, and they get activated only when there is a depletion of prana in the body. So, if you look at most of the Indian system, right, it works on cleansing the toxic elements that is accumulated in the body. And the simple, humble, which is very cheap, which anybody can make and use, is Triphala. So, that is the only thing what I communicate to people, that the cheapest option that is available is around 150 rupees or something. 1 kg or half kg you can buy from Vaidyanath, and you take a small spoon of Triphala, soak in the water in the night, and then if you do that, the body will keep on cleansing, but it should not move to a laxative or something like that. So if we can cleanse the body, if you are able to improve the prana, those family that they will remain in the dormant state. So when people test only when there is a problem, and they say, see, here is a bacteria that is there in the body. But do we test the same when we are healthy? We don't test it. So what I found is that those so-called pathogenic bacterial family remain in a dormant state, again as per the law of nature. So anything which leaves wherein the prana leaves, whether it is fruits or vegetable or human body or animal body, anything, it has to go back to the soil. So as soon as the prana leaves from the body, they start growing in the alarming, very rapid speed, and puts it back to the soil. So that is law of nature, and that is being called as a disease or something. That is the issue. So the focus has to be keep the body clean. Even if somebody wants to have something which is tasty, but they should go back to fasting. They should look at option to eliminate what is being accumulated. So that is what I also concluded. Unfortunately, Ayurveda also is moving towards a pharma way, wherein they are providing tablets and syrups and capsules, but it is not connecting to the way of life. So Ayurveda was never a science of medicine; it was way of life. So that is where there's a need to do a lot of work, where we start teaching people, which may include Panchmahabhuta, Panchkosha, Mitahara, Yuktahara, Dincharya, Ritucharya. All that has been removed from the education system. So the dream what I have is how we can put all of this in the education system, wherein every person across the globe will have opportunity to read and understand what was already written in our Shastras and Vedas and all that.
Sinari, I remember there was one title, How the Wheat is the Enemy. Please send me the details so that I would like to purchase that book. Somewhere I have read it about it. Now you are again emphasizing it. But I don't know how the wheat came in our regular diet, wheat and rice. They are gluttons. They drink so much water. So from that angle also, from environmentally also, it is really not worth eating wheat or rice.
I looked at that also, sir. It is all done by National Security of US. And there was a classified document wherein they had a strategy to do a depopulation of the country. And they looked at India as a threat. So that was a time in 1950s or sometime. The Kissinger, the head of military of US, he said that if you want to improve the situation in South Asia, or defeat India, then we need to work on a different strategy. And you won't believe that they have written in that document that let us send the soya and wheat to India. Can you believe that? And it was a classified document I can share, and all of you can read that how the global, we can say mafia, they try to destroy the country. India had multiple variety of stuff. It was going in rotation. It was all seasonal and did not need any kind of water. But again, if you look at what they have done, they have depleted the groundwater. India has got $660 billion as a loan today. And all that was done to push building dams and many other stuff, right, to feed to the agriculture. Because initially they said that there is something called high yield variety we are sending to you. The high yield variety failed. They say the high yield variety will need a high yield water. Then they said high yield water. This also needs a high yield fertilizer. So if you look at whenever there is a failure, they kept on adding some more things, but they did not look at solving the problem. So current situation, again, the conclusion what I have written is we need to go back to Indian native seed. We need to have a seed bank in every Gram Panchayat, wherein those seeds are seasonal in nature, which can provide the variety of food based on the season. That is how our system was designed. And there's no other way, right? And second thing which is needed is to start working with concentrated efforts on the refeeding the ground. We have seen what has happened in Wayanad recently. We have seen what is happening in Himachal or other places. There also I started working deeper into it, and what I found is the groundwater, that is trillions and liters of water that was there below the ground, has been extracted, and that is either there in the sea or it is there in the air, called atmospheric river, and that is trying to go back to the ground, and we are able to see the situation of flooding, cloud burst and landslide and tsunamis and all of that, right? They never ever speak about it. They talk about that the sea level is rising, it can impact the coastal area, sea is coming to us, and everything is linked to the business. They say that there's a global warming and the polar cap is melting, and we need to spend money on different stuff. It could be solar and all that. But another root cause, they have never ever spoken. So that is another area we need to work with concentrated effort and start working on every possible strategy to fill the Mother Earth the way the water was there earlier for millions of years. And that will automatically seamlessly resolve the rising sea level also, and it will also resolve the atmospheric river, which is coming as a large disaster all across. It can happen anywhere, any point of time. The river is moving. If you see carefully the Wayanad situation, right? The river came on the ground, but that river was there in the air, and that has to go back to the ground. So water has a memory. It is going, trying its best to go back to the ground, but we need to provide option and mechanism to refill. So that is another area we need to have a concentrated effort. while we work on moving to the sustainable agriculture, wherein we don't need any kind of irrigation, anything which is self-sustainable and purely dependent on the nature based on the seasons.
Thank you, Sinha. Last question from my side. You were mentioning about the prebiotic. My colleague Dr. Kamalasan Pillai also goes on talking. He always says that this fermented thing is always good for the health. Particularly in case of South India, we go on eating idli, which is very easy to digest, and it really works very well. Now in foreign countries also they are switching over to this type of prebiotic and fermented things. Now, do you also advocate similar lines when we talk about naturopathy?
Sir, I started with probiotic. Okay, so that is again a product, and that was being positioned all across. And even I had incorporated a startup to work on it because initial stage of learning was all around what was directly visible to me. So from probiotic, I moved to prebiotic, and prebiotic is something wherein we do not need a tablet again, the probiotic tablets or any other stuff, right? Because there also, if you look at, there are some probiotic that is available in the country that has only 1 or 2 strain at the max. It doesn't solve the problem. So, as you said, we need to go back and look at the dietary pattern, what was there in the tribal wisdom. So, I started looking for the fermented stuff that is there in different tribal area. And I found that whether it is Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or Bihar or Bengal or Odisha, still the tribal people, they have a fermented stuff that they consume, and it's a different name given in different places. And also there are different way of fermenting rice. For example, Bengal and Odisha is called pantha bhat. So they do fermentation, and they give a very what we call relaxed feeling after consuming the pantha bhat. And at the same time, what I concluded is this relaxed hormones, whether it is serotonin or oxytocin or dopamine, it is all released and secreted by the microbial family only. And because of eating a lot of cooked food, we have stopped getting the what we call microbial family that was coming naturally. Similar thing has happened to the soil. Soil also, the soil microbiome was also destroyed by adding all these chemicals and pesticides and insecticides and all of that. So soil also needs to be regenerated, and that will help to what we call improve the human gut microbiome. And if you are able to improve the human gut microbiome, it has a direct relationship with almost every chronic illnesses. It has a direct relationship with our thinking process, what we think, what we behave, how we act, right? So it goes back to those microbial family. And if you look at somebody who is consuming a half liter of alcohol, entire behavioral pattern changes. It is not like that we are drinking in the head, it is going to the gut. And gut, it feeds those microbial family, which can change the behavioral pattern. That is how, if you see the person who is very silent can become aggressive, the person who is aggressive, they can become silent, they lose the sensory ability, right? So there is a possibility that based on our behavioral analysis, there is a factory that is running in the gut itself. So if you are able to cleanse with a nature cure with a lot of dietary fiber in the diet, then the first element of health, that is related to stress, that will be taken care. And then once that is taken care, body has a self-healing ability to solve almost every kind of issue that is there in the body.
Very good. Siraji will be happy to know, even in Tamil Nadu, particularly the poor people, they always soak the night rice, whatever is left over, they keep it in the water, and early morning they relish it like anything. I think Karthikeyan, what do you call for that type of rice? Even Karthikeyan uses that type of rice, if I remember correctly. What is your experience? Please share.
Yeah, I thank you, Sunaji, for a wonderful presentation. So I am in full agreement with whatever you said. So in fact, I had a very short working experience with Patanjali Research Institute in Haridwar. So, but my experiences was overall negative, not in terms of working. But I was given a responsibility of producing research papers. So we tried to prepare 7 or 8 papers within 9 months of my working period. But we could publish only 3 papers. Remaining papers were rejected by the publishers. In terms of quality and content and research delivery, it was on par with high impact factor journals and such high impact papers. But our papers were rejected at the initial stages of entry into the journals. The papers which are of poorer quality than our papers were published. Later I could understand that the research community or research setup does not like research works which are against the modern medicine or modern systems. While potentially like institutions were advocating for Ayurvedic and indigenous medicines. So that is the kind of setup we are living in, and all policies are favorable towards modern medicine, and we have to struggle to promote the alternative systems. So, and in fact, as Vastev said, I like taking this fermented rice kind of foods. I really feel energetic and relaxed after eating. I think at least 4 days in a week I used to take this fermented rice. It's very good. So that's all I have to share. Thank you. Over to Vastev.
That's a challenge, sir. We need to redefine the research methods based on our own Nyaya philosophy. So I've written some article on it that it is more scientific compared to what they call as a peer review and all that. It's a long battle, but again, this is one area we need to work on. Reintroduce Nyaya philosophy as a research methods.
Yeah, Sudhakar want to say something.
One thing which I would like to ask, everything we want to prove scientific validity. Many of the traditional things which we follow in our Indian subcontinent, they have been doing it for ages and they have found their health part of it is wonderful. They don't have any problem. Just like as Karti was telling that about the eating the yesterday's rice. In childhood days, we also used to do, we were all the time bubbling with enthusiasm and energetic. And in the name of modernization and in the name of proving everything scientific validity, even yoga has to be scientific validity. What is the meaning of this scientific validity if Pritam ji can throw some light into it?
So the reason is that if you put something which they don't like, they can reject it. Okay, so that is the only thing, and that is the reason when I designed the system, and the system was to capture, suppose we are doing pranayama or different asanas or mudra and bandha, it has an immediate impact in the body. Now, what I want to do is put a system in place which is based on blockchain wherein pharma cannot play with it, and we capture the before and after the protocol. And that data will be much more profound or powerful to dismantle what they do. Unfortunately, the system which I got it done within 3 months' time, it went to Government of India. They did not approve it. So I'm not giving up. I keep on trying, and then if we can have this kind of systems wherein we measure the effect of it, and then they cannot say that it is not scientific. If you look at even the COVID situation, China has published a paper that in spite of the fact that there's a narrative that it is all because of some so-called microorganism called SARS-CoV-2 or novel coronavirus, it was found less than 15% of people who were tested with a severe respiratory tract issues in the initial stage, that was 31st December 2019. So they have written that we did not allow anything like remdesivir, favipiravir, ivermectin is a medical protocol. We terminated it. We have applied turmeric and ginger and garlic and cinnamon powder and all that resolve the issue. And that is the paper which got published on 18th of February 2020. But nobody looked at it. And that is by the top scientists published in the most respectable journal, right? And what they do is, even if somehow because of some ignorance somewhere it is all accepted, they go ahead and retract it. And that is where what I'm trying to say is, can we go back from this kind of method to something which is more profound, that has a much deeper scientific research method called Nyaya philosophy. And if you look at our Indian system, whether it is Charak Samhita or Sushruta Samhita, it is all based on the thousands of years of observation, research and outcome that is documented. But they don't consider that as a scientific. So that's a challenge. And scientific, when I look at it, is nothing but a manipulation of a statistical and a causal relationship. That is how what they do. The purpose is very clear. They see this as our system as a threat to what they say, right? If you look at carefully what I was trying to explain, Western medical is nothing but cells. And what I'm talking today, there's nothing to sell. The only thing what I communicate to people, if you really want to have something which is medicine, then either you make Triphala at your home or go and buy a cheapest possible option, that is Triphala powder at 150 rupees for half kg. That can help you for your entire family for entire 1 year. So it is a threat. Today, if you look at US spend on healthcare, it has touched $5 trillion. Many people may not know, but it has touched $5 trillion, which has crossed the GDP of US. India has a large opportunity to dismantle what is happening there, protect the country, and help them to come to the India and resolve the chronic illnesses what they have, right? In spite of spending more and more, every year there's an increase of $1 trillion on the health in US, and the data is visible. And they're trying to implement the same in India as well, to protect the country. Otherwise, they're all out and doing everything possible to replicate the same what is successful for a pharma perspective, not from the health perspective in US.
Unfortunately, all the research that has been done by the so-called intelligentsia, their research is proving wrong over a period of time. What was once upon a time a life-saving drug is no more a drug at all nowadays. And how we can take, where is the question, what is the valid period, or what is the permanency period of it? Is there any specification about it?
So, right now, if you go from the science perspective, there's absolutely nothing. It is about the statistical manipulation and of data, wherein they say, okay, fine, it is working. So and most of the research what is being published, majority of those research are sponsored research. So the way they have designed, they have put their own people in academia, research institution, wherein the entire narrative is controlled across the globe, including the country. When I started talking about all this in probably 2014, the people stood up and clapped. But when it came to implementation, I got a rejection. They said that no, you don't have a research paper that is published in the medical journal, so we cannot take it forward. So that is a ground reality, and we have a support system by Dr. B.N. Gangadhar. He is fighting a lone battle. We all need to join hand, invite him for one of the discussion, understand the pain point what he's going through, and to implement our own system, and then come out with some strategy to support from all sources what we have in our control.
Karthikeyan, I wanted to raise it.
Yeah, so in fact, what I wanted to share has been discussed by Sudagarji and Pritamji. So in fact, I wanted to reiterate what they said. So the scientific validity is a myth actually, or I would go to the extent of saying it's a fraud. Or Pritamji in a polite and a decent way put it as a manipulation of data. But I would say it's a fraud. See, I'm an agriculture graduate, so I've studied a list of pesticides and germicides to protect our crops and increase the productivity of the crops. And all these pesticides, all these chemicals were invented through a process of scientific research, but they do not stand in the market for more than 10 to 15 years. So I studied agriculture 30 years back, but none of the chemicals which were used as pesticides and germicides during my study period are not in existence now, or have been changed, because if they were invented through rigorous scientific process, why should they be banned? Almost all of them have been banned, either because of health backgrounds or environmental backgrounds or productivity backgrounds. These chemicals have been banned these days. Same is the case for human medicine also. There is a big list of chemicals or medicines which are banned, or at least in some countries like European countries or American countries it's banned, but they are available in countries like India. So research is not objective, I would say. Research is commercially driven, and it is inequitable, and we are all victims to it. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. If you look at this before COVID launch, they amended the Clinical Trial Act in most of the country, including India. And what they said is that if there is a disease, then it's not necessary to have a product which has a scientific evidence. This remdesivir, favipiravir, all that were terminated, suspended, banned product across the globe, because that had already caused more number of deaths than the natural death. But what happened during this thing, all this got a a red carpet entry in the country. And many people we lost because of that. We lost 9 out of 10 people on ventilators. And they call it as a science. I really don't understand how you can call it a science wherein the data was already available that can cause death to people. And many people known to me, they were picked from home, they had to go to hospital because they were tested positive. Again, there's a question on positive, negative, but again, they were killed. That is what when you say that, yes, if I say something which is not a softer one, they were killed in the country. Many people got killed. When the second scam started, that is based on oximeter, people started testing the oxygen saturation, and they were all going to hospital, getting all this medicine, and many did not come back. And that is the time I felt that when they talk about oxygen saturation, I started teaching Nada Anusandhana to people, right? That simple, humble Om chanting and Akara, Ukara, Makara, and that helped to improve the oxygen saturation from 65 to 95 within 9 minutes time. But in spite of knowing this, the health and family welfare, which is again has nothing to do with health and family welfare, it is more of a pharma welfare organization, they did not take it forward. They have seen that I'm able to pull back people from the hospital that point of time by teaching simple, humble Nada and Sunana. So it's all driven by commerce. There's nothing to do with science. That is what I can conclude. And you say it's fraud. It is definitely fraud and criminal. But again, since it is a public conversation, I did not speak about it. But you have spoken. I endorse the same.
Sanjay ji, Valyapan ji, please. Sorry, I took a lot of time in asking questions.
Yeah, thank you, Pritam Sinha sir ji. It's a wonderful, exposition. Wish you all the best. I just wanted to, tell that here in Coimbatore, we have got one JSS College of Naturopathy and Yogic Science. And they are offering some kind of a bachelor program, BNYS they call it, Bachelor of Naturopathy, Yogic Sciences and Yogic Sciences. And they have acupuncture in part of that one, and there's so many other things they're doing. It's a 4-year program, and after that they can write doctorate, something, and they can practice that thing also. And this is only one, and obviously you will be knowing much more than me, that such institutions are also there. And of course we have got Ayurveda colleges, and they do offer those kinds of degrees and things like that. And I have got, association with one Swami, Nirbalananda Giri. He is no more, but he was a kind of a in an orthopedic surgeon or something like that. He was a allopathic medicine master soldier, and then he changed to Ayurveda, and he was giving free services across Kerala, going from Trivandrum to Kasaragod, and he was holding sessions there. And very near Palghat in Ottapalam, used to spend 3 days a week. And I have gone and taken my wife for treatment there, and lots of very excellent results are there, including cancer patients have been treated successfully by him and things like that. But unfortunately, the thing is that you know my wife suffers from something called retinitis pigmentosa, and he said I can try to cure. And then I said, no issues. We have got one, Aryaveda hospital in Coimbatore. We can get her admitted there. And he said, they will not admit your wife because they don't believe in what I am doing. And so if you have to admit her, you have to admit her in some hospital in Ottapalam where my students are there, and they will give you treatment. So within Ayurveda itself, there are differences of opinion and things like that, and that's a very, very difficult thing. I'm talking from personal experience what I've myself gone through.
Absolutely, sir. The unfortunate thing is even BNYS or this kind of courses or Ayurveda is all moving towards commerce, right? Ayurveda or Prakriti Chikitsa, it is way of life that should be as a part of the education system. It should not be that you are going back and forth for the treatment and therapies and all that. Maybe once in a while, maybe to start with a few months of therapy, and therapy is nothing but a cleansing the system. Any kind of Ayurvedic tablet, it is something which is a binding agent that goes to and binds with a toxic element in the intestinal tract and apply to fascicle. Once we have all this cleansed, and because once you release the toxins from the GI tract, it will next stage start flushing the toxin that is there in different organ. But that is one way to do. Second way is to look at, for example, cucumber and carrots and beetroot. All of that has a similar dietary fiber where you really do not need to go back for treatment. Even the Ayurvedic treatment or BNY treatment should be only when there's a what you call critical condition. Otherwise, if people learn the art of the Prakriti Chikitsa, they should be able to do by their own at their own home, and they don't need to spend. So, when we go deeper into the quantum energy field, and every cell in the body is nothing but energy. What is needed is to improve the energy, improve the prana, improve the movement of electron, proton, neutron in the cell, and body has a ability to recover itself. That kind of learning has to be part of education system wherein everybody understands that what was written, documented for thousands of years. And then only when it is critical, whether it is allopathy or Western medical or Ayurveda, if you look at Ayurveda, there is a massive push that is coming to brand Ayurveda as a science of medicine. Right? They are not talking about way of life. They are talking about let us patent this product and that product. And what I realized is that the essence of Ayurveda is in phytochemical that is there in the herbs. Right? They do a research based on the natural form of those herbs and the stem and everything. But they try to convert into product, but that loses the what you call essence of the phytochemical that works in the body. If you look at even cortical, I went to cortical also. Everything is the doctor don't talk about what is the essence of Ayurveda. And if you go there, you may end up buying products worth 5,000 rupees, right? And you again become a consumer and you keep on buying the same, even in critical situation also. It doesn't solve the problem. It is also moving towards a consumer approach. So we need to look at wherever there is an intent of commerce and how we can go back and teach science, teach law of nature, teach about prana, how the prana functions in the body. All that is missing element in our education system.
Very true, sir. Actually, this Swami Nivanagiri that I am talking of, he used to begin his day every day morning half an hour he'll give a talk on lifestyle changes and how one should lead one's life so that one does not fall sick. And that is the fundamental thing that he start, and he has written a book also on this, and that book has been translated into into English. My colleague actually did the translation. If I find it, I will try to post it on this group. And it tells, in very simple terms, how one should lead one's life to keep disease away. That's the basic thing that they try to do. Thank you. Namaskar.
Yeah, sir, I try to. Yeah, sorry, last 2 minutes. Sir.
Please.
Go ahead. Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Pritam ji. As usual, like I used to have conversations with you offline also, but this talk summarizes what you used to say always. So thank you for this. And my I have a couple of things. The first thing is, okay, you spoke about eating raw. But then these days, if you see, almost all the fruits have a lot of pesticide content in it, and I'm not sure how to overcome this and then still have confidence in eating something raw. That is my first question. And the second question is about there is a notion that. You spoke about emergencies and why when we should approach allopathy, etc. Or not just allopathy. I'm saying which treatment we should go for in case of emergencies. But then there is also something that that is missing that should become part of the teaching. That especially in case of old people, whether suffering because of disease and then taking treatment is better versus leaving it as it is and then going by the natural way of whenever the death is going to approach. Teaching how I want to die or how one should die, and that is something that also should be that is also needed, because I have a case of my relative who was almost 90, but then they decided to go with his relatives, probably son and daughter, they decided to go with a heart operation for him because the doctor suggested to go for it. So probably they would have taken second, third opinion, etc. But then they still went for it, and then he had to die within 2 weeks. Okay, so these kind of situations also we are seeing regularly these days. We want to or prolong the life, and with that in mind, we tend to take some unnecessary pain and then get into a lot more troubles. So that is also I'm seeing very recently with a couple of relatives that I have seen. So this also, since I think Sanjay sir spoke about the teaching or lifestyle changes, so probably this I believe should also be part of the teaching, especially as we grow old. It is necessarily for everyone to decide what all challenges that we will face after we grow old. Be it whatever the age. I am not saying any age here, but yeah, this also should be part of the teaching or the learnings that we will have over a period of time about the treatments and its side effects, etc. Absolutely. So one of the things what I concluded is that as we age, our digestive capability or the fire in the gut goes down. And that is not communicated to anybody by any of the doctors, right? And slowly, gradually, our digestive capability goes down, and we keep on eating the same kind of food what we were eating as adult. And then we say that yes, there's an indigestion, there's a gastric, there's a constipation, there's acidity, and all of that, right? And doctor look at that as a selling opportunity. So they'll give a lot of laxatives and acidity stuff and all that. But they will never ever say that your age has increased, your digestive capability has gone down. Slowly, gradually, look at something which is easily digestible, easily chewable, which doesn't consume more energy than what you are getting from the food. So that is missing today, and that is where our Indian system has a system of one person ashram, wherein people were moving from one way of life to another way of life, right? So it is all gone. I know very few people who have taken that step and moved to one plus ashram, and in spite of whatever condition they had, everything is getting cured. So the another issue is mitahara, yuktahara, that until that is there in the diet and which is also connected to your age, right? What should be consumed by the children or adult and all that, that is missing today. The senior citizens slowly gradually will have to consume what is given to the child, right? And if we can do that, I can tell you for sure that you can see reversal of many conditions, primarily this diabetes or hypertension or constipation or acidity, gastric, quickly within a couple of weeks' time. But how do we take it forward? How do we integrate it with the education system? Continuing education for the doctor is the missing element, and that is where we need to work on.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. And about the fruit, you want to like suggest?
So fruit, if you look at, I used to buy the beautiful looking fruits and like pomegranate and apple and all that. I don't do that now, right? So if you look at the one which is not beautiful, it is a little not symmetric in shape, that you can buy. That if you are going to buy pomegranate and apple, also wait for the season to come. Now, unfortunately, in the season, as soon as the apple is ready, it is all moving to the massive cold storage of Adani, where it do preservatives and everything, and then release slowly, gradually. And that is the price of all this has gone beyond 200 rupees a kg, and general people cannot even afford. So that is one. And second thing is, look at what is naturally available. There are so many things. Even if you are not able to get expensive stuff like apple or pomegranate, again we can go back and look at other things. Simple, humble beetroot. It is not expensive, and there's nothing called insecticide, pesticide, chemical to be added for beetroot. The carrots also, which are seasonal one, which can be consumed. Cucumber can be consumed, right? So you have to figure out the farmer who are going in a natural farming way, and it's rare, but again we can find it. So I found something in Attibele, something in some different locations, and those you can find and consume.
Okay. Thank you for the suggestions.
पंकज जी, आपको कुछ पूछना है क्या? पंकज जी,
हाँ,
या
प्रीतम सर को बहुत बहुत प्रणाम, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने जो है अपनी प्राचीन चीजें जो हैं उसको फिर से जीवित करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, और हमारे जैसे लोगों के लिए आप प्रेरणा स्रोत बन रहे हैं कि हम लोग उस चीजों को, ये जीवन समाप्त होने से पहले अपने समाज को, अपने देश को, अपने विश्व को कुछ दे के जाएंगे. बहुत बहुत प्रणाम सर, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Sinha. With a very short notice, you agreed and gave a very wonderful presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
We conclude with